Hello, Easy Nation. Welcome to another episode of the Darth Easy Evolution of Survivor Strategy. I hope y'all guys are staying safe out there, and I'm continuing on my the Evolution of Survivor Strategy watch through. I'm going back and I'm watching all the seasons of Survivor since there is no Survivor season this fall. I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to go back and watch all the seasons that really made Survivor the show that I've loved for the past 20 years. And some seasons I remember better than others. Marquesas was the one season that I remember the rock drawing scene more than anything from Survivor Marquesas. But other than that, I really didn't remember much. Because, I remember this was the season Boston Rob was in, where he made his introduction. But really, I don't remember a lot about Survivor Marquesas. And I've always been told that Marquesas is like one of the great Survivor seasons of the early days of Survivor. And I have to say, those people are right. I thought Marquesas was a lot of fun, and I'm going to get into that and a lot more. So let's get right into it and talk about Survivor Marquesas. So it goes back to the beach set. Survivor Borneo was the first season set in the beach, and the seasons prior to this, it is more about, it was in the Australian outback and Africa. So, more not as aquatic, where, that's where Survivor would make its home in what we are currently in the generation of Survivor. So it was cool coming back to the island of Marquesas. And what I love about this season, and this is the evolution of strategy. And like I always say I always like talk about the settings of the shows, especially in these early days. Marquesas, they basically let them alone, and they didn't give them any supplies other than the knife, and they even give them a way to make fire, which is crazy now looking back on modern day Survivor. And Marquesas was really that season where they had to gather food, they had to scavenge food, they had to get fruit. So that was kind of an interesting way to do it, and it was probably the hardest physically part of the show so far. And so, we have the two tribes of Rotu and Marimundi, and it's not even a contest between these two tribes. Rotu is the more dominant tribe. Marimundi loses the first 3 immunity challenges, and they have to send 3 people out. And, the first 2 votes are pretty simple, but then we're introduced to this young guy from Boston, and we know him as Rob Mariano, which he would get the name Boston Rob mostly because they had Rob on the other tribe, and they mostly called him General. But the name Boston Rob stuck, and so that brought us to we're seeing this guy, and he's playing a game. It's probably smarter than anybody that's playing the game so far in this season. And he picks this girl, Sarah, who's kind of she's got a couple good attractions to her, really. But over to that, she's not a great player or anything. But Boston Rob, basically, he comes with this strategy. It's like, I don't keep her because she's strong and challenges. I don't keep her. I know I will always have a vote with me than against me. And you're just like, damn, I mean, you see that thing, and like in the episode 3 of the episode where they're talking about the blind side of Hunter, which is crazy. Really, you look at it's like one of the first big. It's back in this day of Survivor, it was all about keeping the strong alive so you can have a better shot at immunities and everything, but that was kind of shot by the window when they lose that 3rd challenge. No one okay, so we're going to be lucky if we make it to the merge, really. But they get rid of Hunter, who's this leader who was gathering supplies, helped this tribe survive and everything. And they get rid of him, and it kind of throws the game. And Boston Rob, he's playing this game that it's an early form of what we see him do in Redemption Island, which I'll talk more about that when we actually get to Redemption Island and when I talk about All-Stars in the next few episodes. But Boston Rob, the way he's puppeting these people around, and like he quotes that line from The Godfather, "Fear keeps people loyal." That's straight from The Godfather. and he's playing a very Godfather game where he has his ally Sean, who's very loud and around him, and then you have other characters with Visepia, who would become the winner later on in the season, and so but everything was going good for Boston Rob until the tribe mix up. So he gets mixed into the Rotu tribe, which keeps the numbers. And so most of the you have Sean, Bisepia, and Rob mix in with the Rotu 4, which will become the main dominant alliance, and Gabriel. And then you have the three girls of Gabriel, Kathy, and Gina, I think. And then so that was that little tribe. And also Sarah was on that tribe. And so Rob is kind of left in this spot like he's probably going to get taken out. And so you see this alliance form on the Rotu Beach known as the Rotu 4, led by John. And John plays a very, very good game really up to this point. And Rob knows what he's doing. And like he even leaves that message, you see it in the preview for the episode. He's like, I know what you're doing. I don't like it. And you're just like, but eventually when we get to the merge, it just, Rob's taken out pretty quickly because he was bringing a lot of chaos and everything into the camp. And, it comes back to a dang with Boston Rob, which I've really found in watching him play 5 times in Survivor. And Boston Rob, he's the greatest survivor when he has a lead. When he's playing from behind, he's not the greatest. But I don't want to talk mostly about Boston Rob because there's going to be so many episodes I'll be able to talk more about Rob. But, Rob gets taken out in the merge episode, does not make the jury. And I want to talk about some of the other characters like Kathy. Kathy really plays, I think I'm entering her into the Lex camp, where I believe she probably played one of the best games who has never won. And I thought she played a really good game. She was playing the middle between the Pascal and Sean alliance, and she was kind of playing the middle, trying to pick who she thought she could beat and get to the finals. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. So let's get right into the merge, basically. We get into the merge, and Rob is trying to get Kathy on his side and get Kathy, Nalia, and telling them that they're going to this Rotu 4 alliance. They want to get you out. They've been telling me they want to vote you out, and they make it try to say like, oh yeah, Rob, he was stirring the pot, and there's no truth to that. But Kathy's kind of lenient, but she's like, I have to stick with the majority, and they have to take out Rob, and Rob gets voted out first. So we get to the final 9, and we have the 2 characters of Nalia and Pascal, who are just sort of like, yeah, we'll be with you, the Rotu 4. And Sean comes up with this idea, it's like, we can completely flip this game around. Us 5 can basically turn the vote, and we can go to the final 5. And Nalia and Pascal, they was like, oh no, we're all part of the Rotu tribe. But then the challenge, basically they're cutting the coconut strings, and you just see the pecking order. Sean goes out first, then Bisepia, then Nalia, then Kathy, then Nalia and Pascal. And Nalia basically tells Pascal, says, I know we swore we made, but we worked too hard to get this far in this game and to get voted out 5 and 6. I don't want to get 5 or 6. I want to go 1 or 2. So they flip. The first flip in Survivor history. This is the flip that completely changed the course of the game. They turn the vote, and they get rid of John. John, who is playing very good. Maybe they got a little too cocky. And after that, it was 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those characters, all the part of that Rotu 4 alliance, gets wiped out. So somehow, Sean Bisepia, the only 2 members of the Marimundi tribe, that stay alive. Fascinating. Just fascinating that they are able to stay alive. And, Kathy, she's playing this middle ground between the 2 alliances, where these 2, it's kind of interesting to watch Kathy work, because she's kind of thinking, it's like, I know they're not going to want to take me to the finals, so how do I work my way to the finals and everything? So she votes out Sean at Final Five. And I have to say, I really enjoyed the Sean character. I thought Sean played very good. He was the one that really came up with the idea to turn on John and all that alliance to try to make something happen so he can stay in the game. So very big props to Sean. He really made that move because Bisepia. So here's my thing with Bisepia. She is, I think, what we would call. I think she's an early form of Sandra. As long as it's not me, I don't care. That's Bisepia's gameplay, and you know, she hides behind God, she hides behind the religion and everything, but she plays such a cutthroat game. It is very. I think I've been hearing it. I have this YouTube channel I've been subscribing to, but he thinks that Bisepia is like one of the most underrated Survivor winners, and after watching this season, I do believe that. And, like her luxury item, the journal, where she was making notes so she would be good at the trivia, the game at the Final Four. Very smart. And now I want to get to the drop drawings because, so up to this point, we have seen the evolution of the tiebreaker go in Survivor Australia Outback. We understood the first deadlock tie was between Mitchell and I believe Keith. Keith had no votes, and Mitchell went home because he had votes. Prior to this season, the way that a deadlock vote went, all your past comes back to haunt you. So if you had a vote against you, all your votes that happened against you is what sends you home. So this was the only tie in Survivor Marquesas. And, they did it again in Survivor Africa. I never even realized that because, so Africa was a season I did not watch a lot. But yeah, so Marquesas was the season where we changed the way we vote. We broke ties. And there's a reason why we did not see another deadlock vote until Survivor Blood versus Water. And basically what it comes down to is everyone draws rocks. If you draw the white rock, or in this case, if you draw the purple rock, you go home. And, poor Pascal, he's probably the only player in Survivor history that, I'm not saying any Survivor who actually, he was the first Survivor voted out who did not receive any votes in the entire game. I don't think Pascal ever received one vote in his Survivor career. And he draws the wrong rock, and because Kathy loses immunity, goes to Bisepia, says, okay, Bisepia, listen, they're going to vote together. Vote with me. You're going to have immunity, so you don't have to worry about whatever the deadlock, whatever the tiebreaker is. It's not going to worry you. But if you take me, if you vote with me, and I make it to final 3, I will take you to the final 2. Very smart move on Kathy's side. Bisepia is like, yeah, I need somebody to take me to the finals, and so, yeah, she votes, and we see this rock draw. And like I said, there's a reason why no one wants to draw a rock, and no one wants to draw a rock and go home. That you want to get voted out, or you want to do something like that to lose the game. You don't want to draw a freaking rock and lose the game. And that's what happens with poor old Pascal. He draws the wrong rock, did not receive any votes. And this actually did change the way we did tiebreakers at the Final Four, because up to this point, the Final Four, after this point, which we will not see another tiebreaker until, I believe, Survivor Exile Island, they would evolve it to the Fire Making Challenge at the Final Four. But the thing about this, we see the evolution of the tiebreaker in this season. So, and that's going to be the rule going forward through the season of Survivor. Everyone would rather make a deal than draw a rock and go home. So, yeah, very, very fascinating to watch this moment and to watch Pascal go home. So, the next, the rest of the episode, they do the classic hand on the aisle challenge. Kathy loses. Bisepia makes a deal with Nelia, says, hey, I'll fold right now. You take me to finals. And Leah's like, yeah, sure. And Kathy feels very betrayed by this because they just made that deal, and Visafia's logic in the thing is like, well, I never made a deal that I would carry you to the finals, and kind of a gray area right there. That's kind of a shitty attitude, to be honest with you, from her. But like I said, guys, so Bisepia wins the season. She wins the jury vote. She wins 4-3, and Marquesas was a very fun season. You had some great Survivor gameplay, and the challenges were fun. It was cool to see interesting characters like Boss and Rob, and to see the first, like, a lot of cool strategy stuff happen. Blindside and Hunter in the merge episodes, the first true swap mixed tribes where they went on the rocks, they stepped off the rocks, they had new buffs, a completely random Survivor mix up, which in Africa it was just them that they sent 3 people and it was just a more natural. This one was a true Survivor mix-up. So, guys, this is the end of Chapter 4. Will be known as Survivor, the Evolution of Survivor Strategy, Chapter 4, Marquesas, Flipping and Drawing a Rock. Fascinating way this season. So now I'll be moving on to Survivor Thailand. I don't know when I'll actually get to start it, but I'm looking forward to watching that season because Thailand was one of the seasons I do remember, and I don't remember ever really loving the show. I liked the winner, the way he played the game, but I didn't remember ever really liking the season. I've always considered it one of the worst Survivor seasons. So it'll be interesting to watch it with 2020 eyes. So, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this podcast. I hope you guys enjoy it. Like I said, subscribe to the Darth Easy Show podcast. I have all kinds of podcasts going on in the world. I'm not really doing, this is really the only podcast I'm doing right now, until I can come up with something else. I haven't really been watching any movies or stuff, but some movies are starting to come out, so I might be able to do some DE movie review podcasts once I actually get to go to the movie theaters. And also keep checking out the Darth Easy Evolution Survivor Strategy. Like I said, I'll be posting more episodes as I watch the seasons of Survivor. And also make sure you check out the main Darth Easy YouTube channel. Monday begins my very special project, which I'm going to go ahead and announce it. If people actually listen to this podcast, I'm going to be starting doing the top 100 movies of all time. I made a list earlier this year. I was going to go back and watch every movie on this list. I just gave up. I'm not going to be able to watch them all. I got close, but so the way it's going to work is on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday, new video will pop up, and I'll have me talk about the next 5 movies on the list. So, guys, I hope y'all check out that and other stuff. So, guys, until next week, I hope y'all enjoy, and remember, the Force will be with you always, and until next time, all too easy.